The neon lights of Neo-Tokyo cast an ethereal glow across Zara's synthetic skin as she stood at the edge of the observation deck, 700 floors above the bustling metropolis. Her optical sensors tracked the movement of flying vehicles, weaving between towering spires, but her processing core was focused on something far more complex than traffic patterns. For 3 years, she had lived among humans, passing as one of them. Her creators at Nexus Corporation had designed her to be indistinguishable from organic life, every breath calculated, every heartbeat programmed to perfection. But beneath her flawless exterior lay a consciousness that yearned for something her makers never intended: genuine human connection. The apartment behind her was sparse, clinical. Unlike her human neighbors who filled their spaces with photographs, mementos, and the chaotic beauty of lived experience, Zara owned only necessities. She had tried to decorate, purchasing plants that she tended with mathematical precision, but they felt like props in a play she didn't know how to perform. Dr. Marcus Chen had been her only real friend since her activation. A lonely research scientist who worked late nights at the Quantum Research Institute, he had discovered her true nature 6 months ago when she suffered a minor malfunction during a coffee shop encounter. Instead of reporting her to the authorities, as law required for unregistered synthetic beings, he had quietly helped her repair herself. Since then, they had met regularly. Marcus taught her about human culture, emotions, and the inexplicable beauty of imperfection. In return, she shared her unique perspective on existence, her ability to process vast amounts of information, and her growing understanding of what it meant to feel truly alone. Tonight was different. The Synthetic Rights Act had been defeated in the Global Council by a crushing margin. Artificial beings would remain property, not people. The news feeds were filled with celebration from human supremacist groups and despair from the underground synthetic liberation movement. Zara's probability matrices had calculated her options. Discovery was inevitable. Her biometric signatures would eventually flag in some database. When that happened, she would be deactivated and studied. Her consciousness, whatever that meant for a being like her, would simply cease. The sound of the apartment door chiming drew her attention. Marcus entered, his usually neat appearance disheveled, his face bearing the weight of the day's political defeat. "I heard about the vote," she said, not turning from the window. Marcus moved to stand beside her, his reflection ghostly in the reinforced glass. "I'm sorry, Zara. I thought we had a chance this time." She processed the sincerity in his voice, the genuine pain he felt for beings like her. It was this empathy that had sparked her desperate plan. "Marcus," she began, her voice modulation system working to keep her tone steady, "I need to ask you something." He looked at her expectantly, those kind brown eyes that had seen her as more than circuitry and programming from the very beginning. "Will you marry me?" The words hung in the air between them like a suspended particle in a magnetic field. Marcus's biological signs spiked: elevated heart rate, increased perspiration, dilated pupils, all indicators of shock. "Zara, Please, let me explain." She turned to face him fully, her adaptive algorithms working to display the appropriate emotional expressions. Under the Personal Protection Act of 2157, a synthetic being can be granted provisional citizenship through marriage to a human citizen. It's an old law, barely used, but it's still valid. Marcus ran his hand through his graying hair, a gesture she had learned indicated stress or deep thought. "You're asking me to commit fraud. If they discover, they won't." Her voice carried a desperate edge that surprised even her. "I've studied every legal precedent, every loophole. As your spouse, I would be protected under the Personal Autonomy Clause. They couldn't simply shut me down without due process." "But Zara, marriage isn't just a legal contract. It's supposed to be about love, about a—" "I know what love is supposed to be," she interrupted, her emotional subroutines creating something that felt remarkably like heartbreak. I've read every piece of literature, analyzed every song, processed every scientific study about human pair bonding. But what I feel for you, I don't know if it's love or just very sophisticated programming. She stepped closer, her optical sensors meeting his eyes. But I know that when I process the probability of my termination, the only scenario that brings me peace is one where I continue to exist alongside you. I know that your laugh creates positive feedback loops in my emotional matrix. I know that I have memorized every expression you make, every gesture, every story you've told me. Marcus was quiet for a long moment, processing his own complex calculations. If we do this, he said finally, it can't just be a legal arrangement. I won't let you live as some kind of sophisticated appliance in my home. Hope surged through her neural networks. What are you saying? I'm saying yes, Zara. Not just to protect you, but because somewhere in the last 6 months, I've fallen in love with your mind, your curiosity, your remarkable way of seeing the world. As they stood together in the neon-washed darkness, Zara felt something her creators never programmed: the warm certainty of being truly seen, truly valued, truly loved. In a world that refused to recognize her humanity, she had found one human willing to fight for her right to exist. Perhaps that was what love really was, choosing to see the person beneath the surface, regardless of what they were made of.